yes, and the rustling of food packets and sweet packets. And then I think it's a generalisation to say, but the weekend, there's the people who have, it's their weekend trip to the theatre. So that's a particular energy in an audience. Sometimes it doesn't quite have the alertness of reception of the weekday audience.
Yes, and of course, but then it's like any accent. It's about landscape, heat. One dialect coach told me about southern accents. They keep the jaw very, very closed because they don't want to get flies in their mouths because it's too hot. And those also when I was doing The Crucible, a dialect coach was talking about a Suffolk accent, which is terribly difficult to do, Suffolk, Norfolk.
I feel comfortable when I'm writing, I feel comfortable when I'm performing, and I'm not entirely comfortable when I'm myself. But if you like, I'm comfortable with that discomfort. Anything that happens to me on a day-to-day basis or generally in my life, I never see anything as a negative experience.
I'm a grammar school girl. I mean, I'm a kind of war baby. I mean, D.H. Lawrence was the kind of staple diet, I think, and certainly the staple diet for working class girls who'd had educational possibilities, benefit of the Labour government. D.H. Lawrence was a big part of my reading matter, and I knew the series, actually. I mean, The Rainbow was the first one that I'd read.
Well, I think storytelling is evolving, the idea of what that even means. We tell a story in a different way than we did maybe in an oral tradition only. I think people probably said that about the idea of talkies as opposed to a silent film. Is it going to be ruined? But I think the dawn of virtual reality or augmented reality in a experience of a story, of cinema, I think is wonderfully exciting.
After 55 years of doing it, you kind of get an idea of when you're on key and when you're off key. And sometimes you can go by looking at the camera operator or something, and if the camera operator is scowling, you kind of say, but generally you get the feeling. It's just a feeling in the air,
Or to fix mistakes. And what we forget is that mistakes are part of it. But one thing Altman used to do, Robert Altman, is that he would love mistakes. I remember one of the days early on shooting The Player, and I made a mistake, and he said, let's move on. I said, wait, I got to do that again. And he said, no, that's fine. And I came to realize that, well, if it's a good mistake, yes, it's fine, but you better know your lines.
I said, my name is Whoopi Goldberg, and I'm a performer in San Francisco, California, and this is a great book. And if they ever make a movie, I'd like to be, in it. I'd like to play the dirt. That's how much I like this. And so I sent her my resume and stuff. And a couple of months later, I had been invited to New York, and I stayed with my mom. And she said, some mail came for you. And she handed me a purple envelope that said Alice Walker on it.